Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. What I want to show you today, in my opinion, is a vital skill that every person that gets on a kayak should know, and that is how to climb back into your kayak if you're unfortunate enough to fall off in water that's over your head. Knowing how to do this is going to be extremely important no matter what type of watercraft you're on, and it's something that could potentially save your life. A lot of the deaths and the serious injuries that we see in the kayak fishing community are from people unfortunately falling off their boat and not having any idea how to climb back in, and the more they try to climb back in, the more they struggle, the more tired they get, and eventually they end up drowning. So hopefully we can prevent some of that by making this video for you. It's really honestly pretty simple to climb back into a kayak, at least one like this. Okay, the example that we're going to be using today, obviously I'm on an Old Town Predator. This is a 13.2 foot long fishing kayak, very large, stable platform. It's very wide. I can stand up and just walk all over this thing with no problem. So this video might not be quite applicable to those of you that are using like sit inside kayaks that have the ability to fill up with water. That's kind of a whole nother beast. But for those of you that are using similar fishing platforms to this, like the Hobie Pro Angler, the Hobie Outback, things like that, this video should work for you. So there's a few different methods that you see people using. A lot of my friends and a lot of people that I see will climb in over the side of the boat. The main reason that I choose not to climb back in over the side is you're a lot more likely to tip your kayak over and potentially dump all your rods and your gear into the water with you. I find it to be more on the risky side than the method that I use. The method that I typically choose to use is climbing back up the front of the kayak. And the reason that I choose to do that is if I climb up the front, I can keep all my weight centered right down the middle of the hole and avoid that tipping side to side motion that's potentially going to flip the kayak over. Now, I do plan to make a second video that's going to accompany this one eventually that involves if you actually flip the kayak over. If you do that, you're going to have to first figure out how to right the kayak before you can climb back onto it. But for today, we're just going to start from basics. We're going to assume that you fall off your kayak, it stays upright, and now you just need to be able to climb back up. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So we are in about 8 feet of water right now. Perfect depth to do this. I'm gonna set the camera up right here. Okay, and I am doing this demonstration without a life jacket because I want this to imitate kind of the worst case scenario if you fall overboard by yourself out here and you don't have a PFD on. So the first thing that you're gonna wanna do is get yourself calmed down to where you're not panicking, you're not heavy breathing, get your heart rate down so you're nice and calm. And the next thing that you're gonna do is come around, grab onto the front of your kayak, and you're gonna use your arms, and you're gonna push yourself up using this handle while you kick your legs and swing yourself upward. And your goal is to get your belly laid out on the front of the kayak up here, kind of like a beached whale, to where you can crawl your way up. So what that's gonna look like all in one motion is this. And on the Predator, it's nice because you've got your pedal drive here. So you can reach up, grab your pedal drive, pull yourself forward just like that. It's very, very simple to do. And you guys can see that that method doesn't tip the kayak side to side at all. Then once you get to this position here, what I like to do, I have myself pulled up far enough to where I can just kind of slide my belly up onto the front of the hull. I'll just get my knees and I'll just position them on either side of the hull like this. So I'm nice and stable, the kayak's not tipping side to side. I'll take my hands, I'll put them right here, and then I can just walk myself forward back to where my seat's at. You want to keep all of your weight positioned directly in the center of the kayak so it's not rolling side to side and bucking you back off into the water. And that's what a lot of people make the mistake of, is they'll keep almost getting up and then falling back off into the water, and they get themselves more and more tired and more worked up and panicked until they're not able to climb back up into the kayak. Okay, and if you're out here solo, especially if you fall in without a PFD on, that's when it starts getting dangerous and you can find yourself in a really scary predicament that could potentially be deadly. Now, there is one more scenario that I do want to show you guys here. Everybody's not going to have the arm strength to be able to push themselves up like that. So there is a method that I typically use if I'm tired enough that I'm having trouble getting myself back up. So in addition to pushing myself up with my arms while I kick my feet and swim myself upwards, sometimes what I'll do, if that's not enough to get myself up onto the front of the kayak, is I will hold the front of the kayak, I'll dunk myself down underwater, and then I'll pull myself up almost like I'm doing a pull-up, and then the buoyancy of my body, of course, will help shoot me up while I'm kicking my legs and pulling myself up. And a lot of times that'll be enough to straighten my arms out and get myself up onto the kayak. So I'm gonna jump in again and I'm gonna show you guys what that looks like too. So I'm in the water, I'm getting tired, I'm having trouble getting back into my kayak. Dunk myself under, kick up, push up, and get onto the bow. Okay, pull myself up, grab my pedal drive, get myself up onto the bow, and then I can just get my knees on either side of the bow just like that and climb forward until I get to my seat. Like I said a second ago, the most important thing though, and I can't stress this enough, is the first thing that you need to do if you fall off your kayak into water that's deeper than, you know, you're able to touch on the bottom, is you need to calm yourself down. A lot of people are going to get immediately stressed out and start freaking out and trying to climb back into the kayak and falling back off over and over, and that is what's going to use up all your energy, and eventually you're going to have so little energy that you're never going to be able to climb back into that kayak, and a lot of those people do end up drowning, especially without a PFD on. So once you fall out, find your way back to the kayak, grab onto it, and just float there for a second, get your breath back, get your heart rate back down, and get yourself calmed down. And once you get to that state where you're feeling confident, you're not panicking, you're not stressed out, then that's when you want to start trying to get back into the kayak once you have that strength to do so. So especially if you're new to kayak fishing, definitely go out, give this a try, start shallow to where you are able to touch the bottom, see if you can get back in, and then work your way out further and further until you're not able to touch the bottom, and get yourself to the point where you've practiced it over and over, that you're comfortable and you're confident that if you were 2 miles out offshore fishing the reefs here in the Gulf, that you could climb back into the kayak if you fall overboard. So I hope that never happens to you, but if it does, at least you'll know what to do. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I appreciate you watching, and as always, we'll see you on the next one.